Hey, what we're going to talk about today is waste spark ignition systems, which is distributorless ignition systems, DIS. And what I have on the screen here is a generic picture. We have the electronic control unit, ignition module, and the coils. We also have magnetic trigger device, other words, the crank sensor, or RPM sensor. This is the input into the ignition module, letting the module know the car is cranking over. We also have power from the battery to the ignition switch, and look at this. It feeds this coil, it feeds this coil, and it feeds the third coil. But on the other side of the coil windings, we have the ground. Here, here, and here. That means we got 3 separate transistors to fire each individual coil, which NPN transistors, which we talked about last class. So these coils are fired independently. Okay, and also on this, you see these 2 coils here? These coils are called have companion cylinders, meaning we got 2 on top this end at the same time, we have 2 at bottom this end at the same time. Okay, so on top this center, we're going to have one of compression and exhaust. The one in the compression stroke requires more voltage to fire because it has higher resistance because of the air-fuel mixture and the pressure. The one in the exhaust stroke, which is firing also in reverse direction, requires less voltage to fire because the exhaust gas is already burned, inert. That's the word I was looking for. They're inert already, inert gases. So again, we have 2 cylinders, companion cylinders, either top this cylinder or bottom this cylinder at the same time. That's your companion cylinders. Each coil is fired independently with 3 NPN transistors inside the ignition control module, or in some cases a PCM. We also need the RPM signal to tell the module the car is cranking over or running. Look at this chart. This is telling me cylinders number 4 and number 3 are companion. Number 2 and number 6 are companion. Number 1 and number 5 are companion. Number 4 and number 3 are companion. Number 2 and number 6 are companion. Again, number 1, and again it starts all over. 5 are companions. It's a companion chart. Another way of doing it, you see the firing order up here: 1, 4, 14, 25, 36. Old school way, cut in half, move this 3 over, and you see your companion cylinders. They have to lay on top of each other. On this diagram here, we're looking at a single ignition coil trigger ignition hooked to the negative side of the coil, the positive side of the lead from the DSO, and the other lead to ground. Looking at this, you can't really tell what's going on if it's a compression or event stroke, but you do see the battery voltage pulling the ground and the ignition spike. In this particular waveform here, we have the low amperage probe hooked up around either the positive side lead or the ground lead of the ignition circuit. The core is about low resistance, about 0.5 ohms, and you can see the current builds up quickly. It's building up to about 9 amps here. And you can see the slope going here. So this is actually the current running through that circuit. Now this is a very good pattern here. You have both the voltage and the amperage. As you can see here, here's where the transistor is off. No current flowing. See, 0 amps over here. As soon as the transistor grounds the coil and is charging the coil here in this oil section, you see my current start to build. See, remember the ringing? Overcoming resistance. And what you're looking for is this slant, incline. This incline means overcoming resistance. Like I said last time, if this just went up and over, it's a shorter coil. But this incline shows me here that it's not shorted. And but check this out. If you notice, as soon as the transistor grounds the primary circuit, the coil, the current starts to climb. And you can see here it climbs all the way up to maxes about 9 amps. As soon as the transistor here turns off the coil, or stop charging the coil, we get the primary spike here, 100 to 400 volts. As soon as it spikes, you can see the current drops back down to zero. Then we back down to zero. We had a spark line and the oscillations or dissipation of the coil energy, and the cycle repeats itself. It's a very good comparison of both voltage and current run through one particular coil.